Tomorrow's Today.
Welcome to Tomorrow's Today, a visual podcast for art, comedy, and experimental fun stuff.
I'm the Docs Fox.
And I'm Spyfry.
And we're the Tomorrows. Joining us today, of course, is my lovely wife, as you can see. And, it's been a bit of a crazy weekend for us. Mostly just getting things in order for the show today, but we came up with a big grand old idea. You want to relate a little bit of what that idea is coming up?
Idea?
Yeah, we have a little thing coming up.
Oh, that idea.
Yeah. So, as you might have noticed there on the left side of the screen, we have a particular battle royale of our own coming up.
Indeed.
Indeed.
If you remember all of our past guests, we're going to be bringing them back.
Indeed. In one big, giant shit show. Yep. So we're going to be doing a total of about 4 games, and we're going to have 4 artists who are guests. One artist who is a reoccurring guest, aka Spyry.
Hi.
And me to kind of suss everyone up and make them feel better about themselves. So we'll have 6... Okay, no. We'll have 5 artists and 1 artist trying to pretend to be an artist, all in a giant collage of different games. And you'll see, of course, the 10-minute, 1-minute, 10-second challenge, the art attack, as we're going to start calling it from now on. And then we're also going to see about doing a couple other games. We did earlier the TKO game. We'll see about doing that with everybody. And we'll also see about doing some other games that I've been researching and setting up. One of the games tonight might be one that we actually show off during that series. So we'll see how that goes. That being said, we've done a couple little fixer-uppers for the show itself, too, for your listening pleasure. Now, one of the biggest contentions, what do you think the biggest contention with our show has been when it comes to our presentation?
Well, sound.
Yeah, sound. The lack of it. So what we've gone ahead and done, and what primarily Spyry has done, is she's gone through countless different music files to find something that would be very, very useful to the show to make it sound like it would be pretty good. So what we're actually going to see about doing is we're going to see about playing some music off in the background while we're doing the interview so it's not so boring, especially during the parts where everybody's drawing and I'm just trying to conjure up a conversation out of thin air. Anyhow, we'll get to the music here soon, but first it's time to actually start getting down to brass tacks. We have our 5th artist now on the show that we're going to be meeting up with. And that artist... Oh, goodness, I'm in the wrong screen. That's not cool. Why do I do that? Okay. That artist is a 37-year-old non-binary hobbyist artist from the Baltimore area. They've been into art ever since that they were small, generally being influenced by a lot of Western animation titles that gained popularity in the 90s. They're also employed at a local game studio. And just for clarifications, we're not going to say what that studio is because we don't want any mal-directed thoughts and comments to go her way. Anyway, they are also working on a bunch of personal passion projects. Personal passion projects. Tongue twister. Between thinking about writing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV fanfiction. And they are also an avid role player, JRPG art archivist, a fan artist and fan fiction writer with a little bit of web development on the side, and a retired Xenosaga fan community proprietor. Our guest tonight, as you can see up on the screen there, is none other than Katimus. Katimus, how are you doing this evening?
I am okay. I'm recovering from pneumonia, but I'm here. I feel okay.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Yay.
Katimus has been someone I've been looking forward to having on the show for a while. I was also very curious of whether or not we would be able to get a hold of them because schedules tend to be very fluctuative, especially when you're working the way that you do. But I see her on Facebook very often.
Yes.
I won't go into the whole Facebook stuff, but yeah, that's how I keep up with Katimus. Katimus, let's talk a little bit about yourself. I think the first thing that we need to get out of the way for the sake of clearing any air is I mentioned about the non-binary status. Do you want to relate a little bit about that?
Okay. So I recently came out as non-binary after years and years and years of just thinking I was a failed trans man. I was born female, female body, female voice, female everything. And I was always sort of seen as a failure by my predominantly female-driven family. So I kind of, from a very early age, I thought I was a boy and could not do anything about it.
Now,
I had a lot of like hang-ups when it came to like learning how to cook and trying to learn how to sew. I would just like shut down all of that stuff immediately with this just very toxic mindset. Finding out that non-binary existed was very freeing. So I don't hate myself anymore because I
was gonna say it's funny to me because like there's a lot of people who've been talking lately about what non-binary means. By the way, Dogberry the Bard, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that coming in. Maddie Cesar, who followed about a day ago. Thank you too for following. Helps us towards our goal of becoming an affiliate and other things. So thank you for that. But I digress. It's a lot of notable scientists who have been known for saying that gender is just two types, right? Male or female, and it's based entirely on reproductive function. However, we're seeing a lot of those same scientists start going around about how gender is now becoming or being more accepted as not so much a fluidity, but it can be described as such, and it's also relatable on an emotional confine. So while the physical is there, it's not limited to the physical. It's being expressed now as an emotional too. Would you say that in your upbringing that you were maybe... I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this as delicately but still accurately as I can. Would you say that maybe you were growing up as kind of a tomboy and it didn't really function that way? Like people would describe it as that behavior, but it wasn't because there was some other level to it?
Yeah, so since I was an art kid and not a sports kid, a lot of my refusals of feminine stuff was because of my own insecurity. I wasn't a tomboy per se. I didn't like getting in the mud. I didn't like sports.
Right.
Jocks teased me because I was an art kid. And there were mostly art kids in my family as well. My father and mother both were artists. And when I went to school, like the popular kids were all into sports or themselves, and because I was into neither of those, I was shunned, basically. So I had very little, what is it called?
Self-esteem?
Support network and self-esteem.
Oh, okay.
So,
I gotcha.
So I lacked a lot of that because just the pressure of being not good enough for my family, not good enough for my peers, and therefore sort of spiraled into not good enough for myself.
And that's changed a lot over the years, especially with lots of other people starting to express their vision and their livelihoods being that way too.
Absolutely.
So
like
I would... Sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off.
When I was in third grade, my parents divorced, and I lost the like one or two friends that I had made in elementary school. Grades 4 and 5, I had absolutely no friends. So I wouldn't go out. People wouldn't come over. My sister had friends, and she was willing to go out and make friends, but I was just completely shut down and doing stuff like hiding under the bed, trying to skip school because school was awful, and like making a tiny little alcove in the corner of my room where I would be. Like most people who don't like to be, most people who are claustrophobic will probably find this a nightmare, but I made my own little corner space that was completely walled in on almost all sides so that I could feel safe.
Kind of like a different kind of like making a fort for yourself, but not like the chairs and blankets kind of, but more of like a actual bunker.
this was like this very heavy bookshelf that I purposefully leaned in. It was very dangerous. I was like 11, but I wanted to like crawl into a corner and just read books, and that's how I did it.
And I promise this will be the last question about your gender fluidity. When it comes to that, especially since you were young and you got that impression, would you say that your description of becoming what you are today was kind of influenced from the natural pecking order of things, or was it more of like maybe other people felt like they were intimidated by your art skills, or they...
Oh no. Okay, so as far as gender stuff goes, I was basically scared into action by a bunch of political stuff, and my inaction up until that point, because I had known that I was non-binary for quite a while, but I was too afraid to say it because I didn't think I would be accepted, despite having now this huge support network, and it was just like my own shyness is built in and holding me back all of my life, just like even on things not related to gender. But when political stuff started like cracking apart in 2016, I knew that if I did not say my truth, that people would assume things about me, and people would assume that they didn't know, quote-unquote, anybody like that. So half of my want to be honest and out comes from making sure people know that people like me are not aliens. They are among their community.
Absolutely.
Like I'm one of them. Also, I wanted to note, I am non-binary. They and she are included in my wanted pronouns, so you are not misgendering me when you say she.
Yes, I remember the post that you made a long time ago about how you had started your identification, and to me it was important to try as much as possible to keep to the they them pronouns.
Yeah,
but
it's
when
fine.
you said she is also acceptable, I'll still use it, but I'm gonna try as strong as I can to incorporate that.
Here's how I see things. They is extra credit.
Yes.
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 So, just so the watchers are known and that they're being paid attention to, I want to let you guys know that if you have any questions for Katimus at all, by all means, set it up in the
Yes.
Twitch over here. We'll definitely read those out loud as we get along with them, and we'll also see about we'll ask those questions. Gosh, I cannot see about getting my words together today for whatever reason. And we'll also read little quotes of encouragement as they come through. It looks like we've got a lot of your friends that are here today,
Oh, hi.
and I'm very, very glad that you have that support.
Yes, I can't read chat right now because I have to concentrate on reading through some of the stuff
That's
that I
all right.
prepared.
Of
We'll
course.
go ahead and read out their stuff to
Oh,
you.
Yeah,
as we
we'll
go.
read it out for you.
But I love all of my friends.
So, touching back on a little bit of the childhood emotions, how have you utilized depression that you've experienced to inspire your art?
So a lot of my art comes from a place of pain, but I tried to take it and make it into something beautiful, just to sort of like put me in pain, and now I'm doing this. I'm making something out of something that started to hurt me. And that's like questionably, like, I don't know if it's extremely healthy, but it's how my art has come together. I do a lot of my art is not from real life observation because I'm a shut-in.
Introverts.
Or rather,
I mean, it's just kind of
I
a...
hear you. I would rather be wrapped up in a blanket at home.
Yes, same. But yeah, I'm a shut-in. I don't like outside, and I spend a whole lot of time in my head. And I'm learning through therapy that I need to stop doing that because
Indeed.
I'm missing out on a lot of cool stuff that's outside. I just have to get out of that fear of outside. But while in my head, a lot of everything comes down to a lot of like which angles look good, which geometrical positioning of this person's face do I like the best. And when I was like, when I started to get serious about art, I was really into Disney's Sleeping Beauty, also Chuck Jones cartoons, a lot of like the big like spiky looking cartoons. And if you look at Chuck Jones cartoons and the backgrounds of them, like how the mountains are drawn, and also in the cartoon version of the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, just the shapes and curves of the slopes of the trees and stuff like that. But yeah, like when it's a bunch of math-looking stuff that inspires me. It started out, I am a soft-looking person, and I did not like that for the longest time.
When you're talking about softness, are you meaning just the way that you approach yourself socially, like being timid?
Yes, and but also physically. I'm short and I'm round. My hair is wavy. So when I was young, I hated all of that. I wanted to look like I was made out of crystal or rocks or something. And so my art started to come together in those shapes. And even though that was kind of a negative impact, it's shaped into what it is today under that aesthetic. And I'm trying to make it not negative.
Oh no, it's definitely not negative.
Yeah.
I remember Spirey talking about when she was developing her style. Most of her stuff was portrayed as being round, very soft, very accurate, and like I could definitely attest that her personality is soft, round, trying to be as accurate as possible. But when she was developing the style for her comic, for our comic, she wanted to start doing similar to things that I've seen you express in a lot of your art, and that's starting to put more angles, more arches, more jaggedness to the style that you have. And with a lot of these pictures that we're having cycling in the background, you can definitely see what those sharp edges can do for creating such a profile.
Yeah. And like I create art that I like to look at.
Oh yeah.
And the tragic thing sometimes is that when I curate for myself, it doesn't sell well. The last time I went to try to sell art was Balticon 2017, and I barely did about $100 throughout like the entire 5-day convention, and I was very embarrassed. But I also hadn't sold anything for like the last 5 years because a lot of anime conventions switched from first come, first serve to lottery systems for their tables. Mm-hmm. So I was unable to get the table time that I wanted because they added an element of competition, and I just shut down, just thinking that I would not get in, so I didn't try. So like half of that is my own attitude, and I realized that it was my attitude that was the problem. And like it wasn't that people didn't really like what they were seeing, it's that I didn't understand what that audience wanted. I'd only done it once, and I was not used to doing con tables anymore.
So a particular picture that I saw recently, and you might have seen it too, your buddy, my friend as well, Rainiel, sent this in our Discord. There's a picture that's going around where a guy who's an artist, it's labeled as artist, there's 2 cakes on the table, and he's bringing a smaller cake. It doesn't seem to have as much frills or anything, but he says, oh man, this is clearly not nearly as good as like what other cakes are. And then the second panel, you see some derpy guy who's labeled as the audience. He says, oh, cool, 2 cakes.
Yes.
And it's sometimes hard to realize that with how picky you can be to yourself, how critical you can be, and I highlighted this on another show, you still have to be able to accept your own triumphs. Not necessarily say that's where you're going to peak, but recognize that you have progressed in some manner.
And peaking is very dangerous because once you've peaked, the rest is down. So I'm not trying to peak, I'm trying to plateau. And then slowly rise based on what I can handle. I think a lot of young people only think about up, up, up. But what happens when you run out of energy?
Absolutely.
You can't, then going down, 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 that's not good for you. And going up and down is even more dangerous. So, like, being even keel and being able to deal with what I've been given is very important to me. Because if I fly off the handle and lose something important, then what do I do? I'm too old to go from the ground up again. I think I also wanted to say something else.
Well, if I might, to go into what you're talking about, where people who are trying to figure out where their art fits in their lifestyle, you've made a tremendous success comparatively. Many artists undergo the trope of the starving artist. They dedicate to art only, but they don't actually try to find a means to support themselves, and they just want to do it only as the art without setting up another means of which to build up their repertoire. Gotcha. You, having touched on your workplace, you found an alternate, or not so much an alternate. Yeah. You found another way to utilize your skills as an artist in order to start into game development.
Right. All right. So when I was growing up, my mother, when I turned 18, she was like, "You will get a job no matter what that job is." So I ended up in retail for like 15 years.
Oh, the retail hell. Yeah. The true battlefield.
Yeah. But during that time where I worked retail, I also worked at my local community college's art computer lab. And I met somebody there that got a job at the studio that I ended up working at. I was 30 years old when I got into quality assurance for the studio that I work at. My body was like half broken from working at Best Buy and Wawa and
your spirit totally low.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I always had money. I always had employment. So my resume was retail, but it was always solid. Like I was always working for somebody. I never attempted to just make my job my art because I didn't want to hate my art. And with the way I am about commissions right now, I sometimes get into a state where I'm sprained. I can't finish a piece because of whatever emotional hang-up or not. Sometimes it has to do with the piece, sometimes it doesn't. But once I get sprained, I can't work. And that happens to me a lot with commissions. So I knew that about myself when I was growing up, taking commissions as a young person. And I was like, I can't do this full time. And like most of my art is almost purely art that I'm doing of things that I want because I want to do it. And yeah, occasionally I'll give people trades, and I owe people trades. I'm sorry to the people that I have trades to. I'm trying to get them done. I'm trying to get unsprayed. But yeah, like there was a point where my family was going, "Oh, Kat, you're smart. That means you're going to get into college automatically, and you're automatically going to be successful at whatever you do because we believe in you, because we think you're smart." And then what happened was when my parents got divorced, my college fund was spent on a custody case instead of college. So I had to pay out of pocket for community college because I didn't qualify for financial aid. Wow. But also, it's that barrier of somebody tells me no, I shut down and believe them. I don't haggle.
Right.
Or rather, I didn't haggle as a child. So I was told, you're not getting any money from anywhere. And I was like, okay. And then proceeded to work and save up and pay for community college out of pocket. So when that happened, I applied myself because I was paying for all of it out of pocket. But I also only took art classes. And because I only took art classes, I don't have my AA. Because I didn't finish my electives because I didn't care about the course material because I was angry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, to offset some of that negativity...
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm so negative.
No, it's okay. And not saying that you yourself is being negative, just,
Not at all.
just all that stuff that has happened to you. It's obviously really been influential in some of your works, but
Very big learning experience.
what's really cool right now is that there's a lot of positivity, especially coming into the comments here. Honey, you want to read some of those?
Yes, we have a question from the non-furry. He says, or they say, I've only met one other person that identifies as a non-binary. He's a writer. He mentioned that when he picks a new novel series, he usually identifies or ends up liking characters that go outside the norm. Does it happen with the same with artists? Side characters that fall outside the norm on art, video games, cartoons, visual media, that inspire or grab your attention, inspire you, or influence what you draw.
Okay, so I love going outside the lines for things. I love not fitting because I've never fit. And when I see a character, villain, hero, male, female, non-binary, whatever they are, if I observe that they're not fitting in, I will get attached to them.
So, what are some characters that you could identify?
Oh, jeez.
That just keeping a general scale of the audience and their knowledge of different things. Who do you think you could identify who are outside of the norms that would inspire you to draw?
Okay, so when I was growing up, somehow I got it in my head that maybe Professor Hojo from Final Fantasy VII, maybe he really loved his wife and was really upset that Vincent Valentine tried to mac on his girl.
Right.
And I identified with Hojo so much that I started a fan community. Or rather, not really a fan community, but I started writing fan fiction and doing art about Hojo. And so many people were so upset about that, but so many people were so intrigued by that sometimes, I know some people definitely came, quote unquote, for the train wreck, but I was one of the original Hojo people. And the thing with Hojo is that there's a lot to criticize, and the way I got into liking him was very unique. It's not an easy read. Not everybody's gonna get it. In fact, some people will just see it. Well, with today's attitude, we'll just see one thing bad and freak out, and then call me something bad. But this was 1997. Or 8 or something like that.
Final Fantasy VII came out in 1997. I remember that fact.
Yes. Okay. And I just did what I wanted to do because I didn't think about what my friends thought because I was used to not having friends. And I created in a vacuum the content that I wanted, and I didn't listen to feedback because I didn't I wasn't emotionally prepared to process it.
I see.
So
well, the cool thing is that you definitely have a lot of support right now. Dog Barry the Bard says Cat is the best. Queenie B also says that we love you, or says she really is. Stitched Moon says we love you too, Cat, and she agrees with the sentiment. Rainiel says all the best people are introverts. Davros3160 says, we love you, Cat. Your art is great. Stitch Moon also says, Kat's art style is like my entire inspiration.
Oh.
And Queenie Bee agrees, saying, same. That is such an important topic. And my buddy Ron with It's That Effin' Guy says, are you excited for the FF7 remake?
I am so excited for the FF7 remake.
Oh, the hype train.
Yes, I am hype train.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is a good segue to start talking about my webcomic, I guess.
Yes, please.
Alright, so when I got into all that Hojo mess, I got so many good friends from it, but I also attracted the attention of a couple of people who did not have my best interests at heart. I was very young, I was very lonely, I was very vulnerable, and these people were like, your wing, Cat, and then they proceeded to monopolize my time, tell me that my friends didn't love me, and to move out to live with them, and I almost did it, but
sounds a lot like gaslighting right there.
Yeah, it was very gaslighty. It was it was a lot of emotional manipulation based, and like they used my interest in Hojo to drive it.
I see.
And my webcomic is me trying to piece together how I feel about being used, and trying to rekindle my feelings for this thing that I essentially worshipped in high school. Like,
how
my
long...
idea of Hojo took up so much space. It takes up as much space as other people give religion.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of my house god, and I had a lot of like things that I thought about Hojo that I wanted to keep thinking, and the person who abused me knew that and purposefully tried to change it, and purposefully tried to get me to change what I thought into something that was more workable with what she wanted to get out of me. And I caved. And because I caved, I lost my ability to function. Like after I left, me trying to leave, like I tried to get them to leave me alone at least 3 separate times, but they just kept on coming back to love bomb me. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I did something very bad to push them away that they stopped. And when I did that thing that was bad, I hated myself for it. On top of my thing that I believed in was damaged. I did something dishonorable within my own self-perception that I thought I was terrible, and that's on top of all my other pre-existing self-image issues. So when that happened, like my world crashed down on me, and I had a breakdown. It was 2004 New Year's. I had forgotten to drink. And I ended up just crying on the couch, and I would not stop crying. And my friends didn't know what was going on, and they were very, very concerned for me, so they called 911, and I woke up 3 days later. They told me that I was dehydrated, and then I started freaking out again. And then they put me in the psych ward and told me I had bipolar disorder. And I've been trying to get my emotions under control ever since. Like during, I was having a bipolar episode. I thought the person who had abused me was trying to hack into my brain so that she could talk to my friends, and then they would stop being my friends and then become her friends.
That almost sounds like they were trying to develop you into part of their own little cult, as it were. But
yep.
This whole thing about you getting dehydrated actually swings back to a discussion that we had with Splattercat about how one of the best things to do as an artist, honestly, is to keep hydrated, because that's what fuels your brain.
I will say also water. You don't know how dehydrated. Oh, shit, this is the army in me.
It's okay.
It's the most army thing I will say, but seriously, you do not. Mostly everyone does not realize how big a deal the water is to your brain functioning. It's not about physical going out and doing things. It will make your brain work better.
No, absolutely.
It'll make your immune system work better. Just hydrate the hell, piss clear all the time, 24/7.
So.
And that is me drinking on camera.
Yeah, well, your side of the camera for sure.
Yes.
Yes. So, let's see here. I guess what we can do is we can start looking at you either while you're doodling, or we can start going over a piece that you have. I know we have a couple other things that we want to highlight with you, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and see about switching over to your display here. And if you want to bring up anything that you have, so far I haven't seen any new comments just yet, but I'm keeping an eye out for it.
I will open. This isn't the comic, but I just started Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I love it a lot. He's goth AF. And I love him a lot. I know he's a bad man, but I love him a lot.
Indeed.
And this is okay. I guess I can show the process here. This is just a gradient. Shading at 46% and line art. And I try to fill the page. When I was young, I did not fill the page. So I would draw something like this and post it and think it was acceptable, and then wonder why I didn't have any comments. So that's Hubie. I don't think... get something more complex. Sorry.
You're
where
fine.
My comic page is.
Go for it. A lot of people are excited because they're actually seeing how you start doing your stuff, and they didn't realize that you would be...
Queenie B says, we get to watch? Awesome.
Yes. We get to watch.
Hubert's Goth King from Dav Ross. He's cute from Stitch Moon. Rainiel says, Cat loves the bad guys.
Yes.
And Stitch Moon says, I know nothing about Fire Emblem, but he's a snack.
He is a snack.
So,
right.
with going back a little bit to some of the art stuff and picking up where you draw some inspirations, some of the stuff that you get your inspiration to has been from your love of doing RPGs, and not just any RPGs, but we're talking tabletops.
Oh, yes.
Discuss with us about your ramperings or the being around the dinner table.
Oh, okay. I've basically roleplayed since, 2001?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so roleplayed at a table in 2001, but going back to, like, the dawn of my roleplay experience.
The early internet days, right?
Yeah, yes. And this is even before I had the internet. There was a friend of mine, my best friend when I was little. Her name was Kelly. It was 8th grade, and Chrono Trigger had just gotten out. And we loved it. And we were also watching a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and we thought we were in middle school, the smartest people. So we took this player's guide and defaced it with a bunch of in-jokes, and, like, we started RPing as the characters a little bit in it. And then when we filled that book up, we wanted to do more, so we started an exchange diary in a little memo pad, like handheld notebooks, and that just sort of like spiraled out of control from there. I think once we were done with Chrono Trigger, Dragon Ball Z came out, and this was I did not have cable. All I had was the first 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Z for like 2 weeks, and I thought Raditz was the cutest. That didn't end up being a long-standing thing in Dragon Ball Z, but in those 2 glorious weeks, I decided that I was married to Raditz, and he was my boyfriend or something. It was 8th grade. We were dating. I don't know. But my friend was like, yeah, okay.
Not to bring some cringe into this, but this reminds me entirely of the Sonic boards where they would claim that Sonic is my husband and you can't marry him because...
Oh, no. I made a copy of Raditz, and that Raditz was my husband. And
Gotcha.
that's okay. God, Jesus.
Oi.
But, yeah.
No, that's funny, because, like, there's I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of kids that are in Roblox now, like our daughter and a few other people that are all doing similar things, too. That I don't think that's something that just goes away.
Well, to be honest, I had a crush on Jace.
Oh, yes. Jace is A+. I think Kelly, my friend Kelly, who I probably shouldn't be naming, she eventually said that she married Trunks, but that was not until much later. But in the interim, so it wasn't just me, like, smooching on Raditz by myself in this notebook. We created the characters who were his sisters. And his sisters were making sort of the same kind of jokes that Team 4 Stars, Nappa, and Vegeta make about Raditz. So we had our own little, like, heckle RP universe years before Team 4 Star debuted on YouTube. Years before YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like this small cast of 4 characters. We branched them off and branched off of that, and then we ended up with like 80 characters by the end of high school. And it was just me and her, just going back and forth, role-playing in this notebook with different colored pens to designate different characters. And that, like, sort of opened things up for... there was a big ElfQuest community online.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into that. At the end of high school, we sort of stopped being best friends because we started drifting. And actually, it was the person... The people who dragged me away and were kind of culty made me think that Kelly was not my friend because of X, Y, and Z.
Gotcha.
And they saw Kelly as an obstacle to remove her, like, from my immediate sphere, and that was a mistake. But I think half of it is I was starting to want to come out of my box, and she wanted to stay where she was, and I had evolved past that by that point. And it was also at that point that I started in-person role-playing with somebody I'm also no longer friends with. It was my friend Leslie. He started Hunter the Reckoning with us, and I had never role-played anything with dice before. I always thought it was too nerdy, and too nerdy for me, which is saying a lot. And we started that campaign, and I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of cool people. Some of them I'm still friends with. And then around the same time, my friend from high school, Rachel, started a game of Ravenloft. And we were running it in, I think, 2.5 or 3.5. Mm-hmm. And it was just the girls from my clique from high school. And I was a half Vistani rogue named Yosef, and he was really fun to play. He was goofy, and I did a dumb accent for him, and he was always botching because I had terrible dice, and I just made I just tried to have fun with the failure that I kept on getting.
The non-furry says, they say that when you die, your first edgy OC comes to personally reap your soul.
Oh God.
Yeah. So when not to try and water down things, but when we're talking about tabletops just so that those who might not be as keen in that knowledge, are we talking Dungeons and Dragons? Are we talking particularly Pathfinder? What was the Bible of the table?
Well, so since I started with the homebrew campaign, the concept of the Bible of the table doesn't mean much to me. Because,
So-
can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, sure. What I mean is, I think you kind of explained it. You guys work off of a homebrew itself. Is it based off of a particular a structure, like from D&D, or did you guys did your group happen to kind of come into an agreement of what the rules were, what was acceptable, how the world worked? How far did the homebrew go when it came to its own originality?
Okay, so I'm realizing now that I'm in a whole lot of more games that almost every campaign that I was in until like 2005-ish was homebrew. And it was just, when we played Hunter with house rules. When we played Ravenloft with house rules. A lot of... I was not inquisitive until much later. So when the GM told me I couldn't do something, I was like, okay, let's not. I'm not gonna fight. I still don't think I understand the question, though.
No, actually, you really answered it. Your Dogberry the Bard also said that Ravenloft is a D&D setting, so that kind of gives me some insight to what was meant.
I sort of thought that everybody knew what Ravenloft was because it's kind of popular now. It's got a D&D 5th edition re-release. It's called Curse of Strahd, and a whole lot of people are playing it, so that's my fault there.
Gotcha.
It's my fault, Mario.
No, it's okay. The real reason I was asking is because I know a lot of people may not, like, they'll know of Dungeons and Dragons, but they won't know of other systems that are out there that are also hugely popular, also get played. We actually operated on our own little system for a homebrew for our comic as a way of exploring the first chapter prior to the main bulk of the storyline. And we ran it for about 2 years. We had a couple hiccups near the end with scheduling issues, but it operated on a homebrew system as well, with a couple of house rules to make sure everyone was in the know, in the fair. But the way that it sounds like your homebrew worked is that it was based off of a D&D structure, but it utilized its own writing and its own setting, while utilizing certain tools like the Ravenloft setting, the Curse of Strahd, and everything else. Rainiel pointed out Curse of Strahd was one of the things too. That said, goodness, where's my thing here? Apologies, I'm trying to find my notes here, and it's not showing up the way I wanted it to. It's okay.
Well, while you're floundering,
yes.
I'm going to take people through a process. I get distracted talking. All right, so usually when I start a comic page, I will doodle on paper. And I will refine that doodle at some point. I'll decide what goes on the page. For Knightface, I abuse the hell out of the same texture because
the
I'm
manuscript
trash.
text.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I'm trash. And Knightface has like a medieval Final Fantasy-ish setting to it. So I will splat that texture down, and then go over the pieces that I want in pen, whether digitally or not digitally, traditionally. And usually the original line art scan gets hidden. So for this, this right here was the point of this page is depicting an origin story of a fight between two goddesses. And we got the good goddess with the spear killing the bad goddess, and the goddess is vanished and her hand is like off and it's black. For this, the positioning I kind of took from an ancient painting and made it my own. And usually once I get the line art in place, I will take and abuse the heck out of overlay layers for shadows. So normally I'll do like 50% of something and then copy that and set it to overlay. And then the more and more overlay you get, the closer to black that you get, but you also get, at least with this particular page is orange yellow. And if you overlay black onto yellowish brown, it gets closer to red, the more intense the layers are.
Yes.
And is that everything?
That said, what program exactly are you using right now?
Oh, right now I'm using Clip Studio Paint, which is the new thing that it's Clip Studio Paint is a Photoshop alternative that is also not Paint Tool Sci.
Yes.
It is very frequently on sale. I think it retails for $49.99. It's very often on sale for $25. It is not a subscription model. I think what you buy at the time gives you about 5 licenses, like up to 5 licenses for PC. So if you have your copy of Clip and something happens to your computer, then you can take it for the next like 5 computers, and that is a one-time thingy, and it is super popular right now. It has a whole lot of really cool features that I don't know how to use because I'm dumb. But
no, you can't say that you're dumb. You're just ignorant of it right now, which is perfectly reasonable.
Okay, I have not taken the time to explore the extra features because I have discovered features that do what I want easily.
So what I love about your art and seeing all the different doodles to mainline sketches that you do is that it looks like your approach is mainly to work on the line art first.
Yes.
And it's you can almost say it's simplified. It's not simple, but it's simplified in the way that you arrange the angles, the lines, and to set up the profile of the character.
Yes. It's the one of my big strengths and also weakness that I put so much into my lines. And the lines, I like to play to my strengths. And that's also a weakness. I need to challenge myself a little bit more. But when I have a strength, I like to play to it. And I am interested in lines. And I'm interested in angles and stuff like that. Obviously, you can see that I'm not interested in draftsmanship for the Knightface pages. I ended just not using traditional comic lines because I didn't think I needed them. It wasn't because I thought I was like better or I didn't need them. It's just like I was able to arrange the story without the hard barriers.
Now, say this is. I'm going to express my opinion here,
okay.
And I just want to see how you feel about it because this is kind of what's going in my head when I look at it. When I look at your art, I see it as like what Final Fantasy Tactics art would have been if they had taken a little bit more of a liberal attitude with the art.
By liberal, what exactly do you mean?
Like, so if you look at Final Fantasy Tactics, when they drew all the arts for like the ninjas, the knights, they use a lot of simple lines, but everything's very, very curvy. So everything is softer. Everything is a little easier on the eyes and whatnot.
Okay.
It doesn't challenge your profile so much.
Right. Okay. So, like, I love that artist, and you said something that intrigues me, and I, like, that particular artist, I forget what their name is, but I love them.
Yeah, no, they're very prolific in their style. You can't mistake it. That's why, like, seeing it go from Final Fantasy Tactics to Final Fantasy Tactics Advance on the Super Game, I forget what it's called, the Game Boy Color and stuff.
Yeah, the lines that artists use are very soft, and a lot of my construction lines look very similar to it, but I am not shy about using full black, like going for the hard line, and a lot of like anime art tends to not go so well with that, and it's considered an aggressive style, but it's also because it's considered an aggressive style that I gravitated to it, because for a very long time I associated aggression with masculinity, and I wanted to be seen as masculine as possible.
And you can see that a lot in a lot of art, that when you portray men, you see a lot more angular faces. You see a lot more portrayals in those straight lines. They tend to suggest more than what's actually being shown just through an inference.
I'm going to try to put some white on this one, because like usually when I slap the, oh, you see your background here, it obscures so much.
Well, some of the viewers also have been saying that let's see here, Stitchmoon says that the page that you utilize for the background looks so good, by the way. Queenie B also says, yes, the program is subscription based on the iPad only, thankfully, but she also loves the burnt look of the overlay settings. Stitchmoon says she also likes, or they, sorry if I assumed anything, they also like the flow of it. And the non-furry says, "Oh my God, background music!" Yes. We mentioned that at the top of the music, at the top of the at the show, that we started utilizing music, so it wouldn't be nearly as boring this time.
Yeah. And another thing with Knightface that I kind of wanted to put across is that it is super fantastical, and set in this like grungy fantasy world, and I can't convey that with black and white. I can only convey that with burnt.
It does give it a warmth that you wouldn't get from having a white background.
Yeah. Some pages are warm, some pages are cool. I usually try to save the blue for hella flashbacks. And this particular red is a special flashback because Knightface is about a young man who really believed in this one god that he found that everybody else thinks is the devil, and some people messed with him. And the red is for the essentially, in the metaphor, me explaining FF7 to somebody who does not understand FF7. So
I see. Just for an idea about how you construct things, would we be able to start on like just in a from the ground SketchUp of whatever you like, and then we can see like just as a like, I know we're going to go into the games where we're going to be doing that anyway, but this, let's say we stay in your comfort zone and we have a tall, brooding, maybe a black-haired individual that is annoyed that his coffee hasn't arrived yet. What kind of things, like, go through your thought process about how you want to construct that mood, that tone, that the shape that you would want to do.
So I think about how he's going, like, how is his body going to, what is his body expression, and then what is his expression. So I'll have him, I don't usually use these lines, I'll have him sitting down, he's lounging in a chair.
And you really just put those lines down right there, and you kind of accept where they go.
Yep. And they'll change over time. So he's brooding, black-haired, collar. Zoom out. I'm not used to the tablet I'm using today because I'm used to my iPad. I was going to use the iPad for the stream, but it wasn't working so good, so I broke out my old tablet, and it's not ideal. Usually, I don't plan ahead, so when I'm working digitally, I'll draw in the center of the canvas without regard to things like composition, and I'll fuck up and draw something too far to one side. And I've just corrected and tool. There's my tool. All right. And his chair is too short, so I'm gonna move him up. But yeah, I am absolutely not shy about where my lines go, because, like, this is digital canvas. I'm not wasting anything but my time. So I might as well do what I want, you know? Alright, so he's sort of lounging in this chair.
I think what's so unique compared to some of the other guests that we've had, like with Fleety, everything is minute in detail. Back from our break with Mr. Fleety here. And what are we looking at, Mr. Fleety?
Blank page.
Oh, you're right. Yes,
I was gonna say, well, hey, I pulled up a blank page, I guess, but yes. When it comes to fan art, you're asking about if Night in the Woods was the best one. So far it is, and I'm trying to break that by showing my, as you can see, overwhelmingly OCD love for corgis and wheelchairs with Ghostbuster gear attached to them.
And this is where our comment about you having excellent detail in the way that you conceptualize your subject really comes to show itself. This is, even just line art, this is like flabbergasting to just behold. You can see all the little nooks and crannies, the wires where they're coiled up and everything.
I just kind of want to see it move. There's so much going on.
You almost want to see it like in a 3D render, just see where, like the little chain that's on his side right there with the Ghostbuster symbol, you want to see that dangling while he's wiggling his little butt trying to move forward. He goes through everything. He's able to put down those lines, but he does it in a fashion to portray precisely what he's trying to convey.
No, I can't get my art to do that.
And that's fine, because I think like if he's going in there with like a scalpel, you're going in with a shotgun and saying, "Hey, I'm here." Yeah, and it's its own destructive, chaotic, beautiful thing to behold.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, like usually when I'm sketching at first, it's the shotgun, and now I slowly refine and refine and refine. And usually the second stage is where I make the silly faces. So it's the silly stand-in faces. I am very fond of just doing this for faces. It's the angry face M. M face.
That almost looks like the orc I had to draw in the last competition that we did.
But yeah, I think first about a character's expression and body language. Usually, a lot of the things I draw, my husband has lampooned me on this, and I love him. Like I do a lot of talking heads and a lot of like people about to kiss, and it's the expression that comes first. I don't know what he's wearing, but.
You had mentioned this earlier with the collar part. I remember us talking prior to the show that I can't remember if it was in text or if it was it's something else, but you had mentioned that you like doing collars where they're popped up like that on purpose. What was the reason behind that again?
I don't remember that conversation. I'm really sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. If I remembered exactly what the conversation was, I would have been like, you said this and you said this, but I genuinely remember the feelings behind the conversation, not the full content.
So I think what it was, I like a lot of big pauldrons and Warhammery things, and like I don't know, like it's. When collars are popped, it's sort of like an air of, oh, hey, this person thinks of themselves enough to protect themselves. I kind of want them to protect me. So a lot of my favorite characters have high-popped collars or scary armor or scary attitudes.
So while we're doodling this down, I know one of the most recent characters well, two of the most recent characters going on to the Final Fantasy XIV era has been the primary villain in Stormblood, which I am, I know it's a Von Galvis, but I can't remember his full name off the top of my head.
So if you're talking about Stormblood, you're probably talking about Xenos.
Yes, Xenos.
Yeah, and Xenos is a lovely boy. He is not my favorite, though.
No.
But, yeah. I tend to like characters like that's dads.
Oh, his father?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And, like, something about... It's sort of like the Sephiroth versus Hojo dichotomy.
Mhm.
I get very nervous whenever I have to compete with other fans for something. And so if I feel threatened, or I feel like I'm not contributing anything unique, I will heck off and look for something that I can establish myself as unique in. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
I know a lot of people like Xenos, and they're valid. I'm sorry that
no, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with Xenos, and like, because you don't get to see too often of his father, but when you do, he's there. Like, you almost get the fact that he's just a pawn in the thing, but you realize that he's not just a pawn. And I know we're getting into like Final Fantasy XIV spoilers, but while he is a pawn, he's a pawn that's trying to get into that queen spot. He's trying to get to that upgrade, right? And so he's making these pushes. He's playing the game, but he's finding ways to circumvent the game in the game itself.
And failing miserably, because that is how my favorite characters end up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have a lot of Final Fantasy XIV feelings. I have been sort of like this last year has just been me writing fan fiction about like being Xenos' mom, about dating Varys Zazgalvis, not Solus Zazgalvis, not Xenos, yay Galvis. Yeah, like I love villains, and I love exploring their characters as people, and the Galvises should not be allowed in Eorzea. Absolutely not. And the shit they're doing is super super bad.
Careful.
Super bad, and I don't approve of it, but bitch is handsome, and I need to live my best life and go for the things that I like.
Absolutely.
And not what people tell me
Yes.
I can't do.
Well, it is the top of the hour now, and as traditions go, we usually take about a 5-minute break here. Seeing the process here, the way that you just throw the lines down, though, has been perfect to show how you approach stuff. What we'll do is we'll take a 5-minute break now, and then we'll start going into the fun part of the show, where we get to have Spirey and yourself partaking inside of the Art Attack Challenge. And then we have the other laptop down here now. I might be able to take part in that as well.
All right.
So we'll take a 5-minute break. If there's any other comments from the audience, by all means, add those into the Twitch. We are looking to see about expanding over to YouTube, to Mixer, to Pixel, to a couple other streaming services. We're kind of investigating that at the moment. But leave your stuff there. If you want to see more shows like this in the future, you can find, when we're doing our shows, who's in the lineup in our Discord. It's located just below the screen right here. You can click on that to join our Discord and find out all the different shows that we're doing, on top of other little events that we have during that time. What else do we have? We also have a suggestion box that's down below. So if you have something that you think would be a good idea for the show, you can leave it there. And if any of this art is inspiring your own artistic juices, you can see about making some fan art and dropping it there in that Dropbox. Just remember to keep it in as JPEGs or PNGs. Try to keep the file size a little bit low. We do have the Dropbox, but it's not paid for, therefore we're limited on space. Outside of that, we're going to go ahead and take that 5-minute break, and we will come back shortly. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon.
Welcome back to Tomorrow's Today, a visual podcast for art, comedy, and experimental fun stuff.
I'm the Dox Fox.
And I'm Spy Fry.
And we're the Tomorrows. And we're here with Katimus today, who has finally finished her picture. She used the rest of the break to go ahead and doodle the rest part of it.
I didn't break. I worked on the break.
Didn't break. That's fine. No, by all means.
He looks so stern.
Yeah, he's definitely stern. That's
I love
part of your
him.
trademark.
Yes.
For sure.
It's like, oh yes, please tell me no.
Well, now it's time to put you out of your comfort zone because we are going to do the art attack. And I have to start it off in the correct way possible. The art attack is...
The 10-minute, 1 minute, 10-second challenge.
And it's exactly what you think it is. You have 10 minutes to work on a character, which I'm going to give the description of. And then you'll have 1 minute to refine it to its base elements and 10 seconds to portray the most brutal, bare-bones method possible in portraying that art. So what you're going to need for this first part, Katimus, is you're going to need an empty space as you do, and then 3 separate layers.
Okay.
One layer is going to be your 10-minute layer. The second layer is going to be your 1-minute layer, and the third layer is going to be your 10-second layer. You'll want to keep them, relatively close together so you know what you're talking about.
So it was 10-minute, 1 minute,
1 minute, and 10
10
seconds.
seconds.
Precisely. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. That's the whole point of this exercise.
Jazzed.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to our dual screen setup now so that everybody can see both your screen and Spyry's screen, which her screen is still portraying the slider effects.
Yep,
We'll get
still
that.
getting programs up.
Yep, she's still getting set up. So if you're wondering why that's happening, then just realize we know that it's doing that. And while she's getting set up, I have your subject, and you're going to both love and hate it. So what we like to do is we like to use the Jazza Arty program that he has out for iOS and Android devices as a means of getting randomized subjects. And it's been very, very handy for all of these challenges on top of other projects that we've been working on. And today's challenge for the both of you is that you're both going to be making a bird-like person that has a short temper, who has a tome of dark spells. I'll reiterate that. If you want to jot it down on your easel so you can remember everything, then great. If not, memorize it. You're fine. It is a bird-like person. Can be a bird. Can be a person with bird-like features. Can be an anthropomorph bird. Whatever you want. I will give leeway there. That has a short temper. Who has a tome of dark spells. Short temper and tome of dark spells. Now, I know you can't see Spyry's screen in a moment, but what we'll do is when the challenge for the 10 minutes is over, we'll actually screen share with you so that you can see it. Everyone else can see both the screens, so Spyry won't look while she's drawing, and you can't look while you're drawing, so,
Okay.
fairness is ensured. We'll say that much.
Alrighty.
So what we're going to do is, for the first part of this challenge, I like to give a 2-minute warm-up for you to start putting some construction lines down. And at the end of the 2 minutes, you will start doing just line work. And if you want to throw color in there, you can, but it's not required.
Okay.
Okay? So we are going to start with the 2-minute primer. And that is going to begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin with your structuring. 2 minutes. Now, I think it's going to be interesting for Katimus to be seen because I know seeing her throw those lines down, especially in the previous picture, it should be... I think it might even be like too much time for you to have even just 10 minutes in the 2 minutes buffer. But we'll see how that goes. And for the audience, to reiterate, it's going to be a bird-like person that has a short temper who has a tome of dark spells. This definitely bodes well for both Spirey and Katimus, because Katimus has the emotion part, Spirey has the bird-like features down with the way she does her art, and dark spells. I know that both of you can portray that sort of angsty aura quite divinely.
Awesome. I loved duck characters when I was little, so when I went through an anthro phase when I was very young. Mm-hmm. I have a couple of anthro characters sort of roaming around in my head.
I'll say this much: if you've lived without Deadeye Duck, then you have missed out on a great escapade of your life.
I have missed out on a great escapade of my life, then.
Yeah, and so you need to start looking up Captain Bucky O'Hara, that's for sure.
Yeah, you need to put that in the chat so I remember.
I will certainly do that. I'll make sure you do that.
My brain will obliviate the details of this.
Quite all right, no worries. I'll remember. Yeah. I know I've mentioned it a few times in this show.
Okay.
But I'll make sure to reiterate because it was like one of my favorite Sunday shows. 10 seconds until your rough lining is complete. You'll begin your main project in 3, 2, 1, begin. You're now going to begin on your dark lining. And for those who are in the audience, as I said, we are a very interactive show. As you can see, we've been reading your comments and going through all the other stuff. Why don't you try some of your own interactivity with the art itself? We'd love to facilitate and have a fan day sometime in the future where we can take all your different drawings that you do, whether it's a part of the show or whether it's part of something that was said or our characters or a meme that happened within the show. Let us know how that inspires you and bring us to light your own creations. Doesn't matter how professional or unprofessional it seems. And see about dropping it down in the Dropbox so we can see about giving a nice portrayal of what you guys do. We would love to celebrate with you just the way anyone does their art. If I can create Chongert the Dim and it becomes a meme, you can create something fashionable too. So yeah, drop it in that Dropbox. .jpegs or .pngs. Avoid GIFs, no videos, please. We are limited on space, but we will clean out the Dropbox often enough to where you can submit that art. We are performing a bird-like person with a short temper who has a tome of dark spells. And it looks like the music is still playing over there. Hopefully, if you're out there in the audience right now, tell us what you think about the music. If it's playing all right, if it's too loud, too soft. I know I'm kind of speaking over the music a bit, but that's the whole point, is to kind of have it in the background. And we are going to see about finding some more stuff in the future to add to the show. If you think certain sounds don't sound cool, let us know. We value your feedback so that your experience in being in the show is much more enjoyable. Just bear in mind that we have to keep songs limited to those of non-copyright, open source. And we don't want to get claims and stuff like that. It makes the whole YouTube algorithm and Twitch algorithm a lot more painful. Either way, I do like what we've got going on for Katimus. That's looking pretty nice. Are you trying to portray like the spell-like thing as like digital kind of?
Yeah. The evil magic. There is Hubert's first level spell in Fire Emblem is this like purple and black box thing, and I love it. So,
oddly enough, that reminds me of Twilight Princess. How all the Twilight have their dark magic portrayed as pixels.
Twilight Princess. That's Zelda, right?
Yes, that's Zelda. That was
okay. I have not Zelda'd. I apologize.
No,
now
it's fine.
everybody's opinion of me goes super down.
No, hey, different. I could say different strokes for different folks, but that's not even really relatable. Some people, they'll grow up with Zelda and they'll follow the whole timelines and the whole mystery behind that stuff. Other people, they just don't partake of it. You know, just like some people don't partake of tabletop, but they know a little bit about it. You know, Zelda being a household name in many aspects, but many people haven't done that experience yet. So that's why it's kind of good to see people in Let's Plays and stuff playing those different games so that they can get caught up, they can understand what's happening. And the only reason I mention it is because I know Game Grumps have been playing it as of late for the last, on and off within the last year. So it reminded me of that art style where you saw the digital sort of look to it. So we have passed the 6 minute, or we're at the 6 minute mark. You have about 6 minutes left for your picture.
Started
He's
a bit
so short.
late. I wasn't trying to be a poor sport, I promise.
Spy got started a little bit late. There was a distraction on our end, but we didn't want to stop things from happening, so. We definitely have a very different portrayal of styles here. I kind of like it.
I'm not gonna make him short.
Oh, you're gonna make him short.
I was, and then I was like, no, that takes away from the ambiance of the piece.
A little bit, yeah. It's one of those remarkable things where, like, you want to inject humor to it, but you've already created so much of a mood that you realize, as much as I want to throw I have the Mona Lisa, and to suddenly throw a dick joke in there just doesn't really seem like it just fits that. Yeah.
Glasses.
Indeed. So, like, normally I don't ask this while the artists are drawing it, but I think, like, yours, Katimus, is coming in far enough along where you can start thinking about this. What is your maestro's name here?
Oh, God.
I know, it's like trying to exercise two different muscles at once. With the art muscle who's trying to art right now, and then trying to name things and be thoughtful.
It's been so long since I did a beak.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a kid, obsessing over Tiny Toons,
We're at the 4 minute mark, by the way. Keep going.
Okay. I learned the beak. I learned the duck beak, and I was so proud of it. I used to draw Plucky and
yes,
Shirley a lot, and
gotcha.
One of my few remaining characters, anthro characters that I actually created in college, is named Goddammit the Duck. And he wants to work in children's programming, and he can't figure out why he's not getting any gigs.
Oh, gee, I can't imagine why that is.
He won't change his name because he's about integrity.
He's absolutely about integrity. Jeez. God damn it, the duck. I like it. That almost seems like it could be another mascot for this show.
Oh yeah, like he could be the adversary duck.
Possible. So we've got Chungar the Dim, who is the award excellence for artistic ability. What else do we got? We talked about having a gun bunny as the actual mascot for the heavy artillery show itself. And then, goddammit the duck. I'm sure we could fit that in somewhere. But that's your character, so I don't know if they feel right taking your character.
He's kind of like the drunk college dropout uncle who just drinks in the corner and goes and tries sometimes and always gets defeated, and it's just like...
So, like, does his beak have stubble underneath the bottom of his bill or something?
No, but he does have, like, a fade.
A fade? Oh, geez.
Like the fade haircut. I did something weird with his hair. I have to find it. I have to find pictures of him.
Are we talking like a fade, like a receding hairline kind of fade, or...?
No, like a gradient dye.
Okay.
With his hair.
I gotcha. Yeah, that'll have to be something we see later on, because I think that would be... I think that's an interesting concept. I like that concept. We are at the 2 minute mark.
Pinky out. I can't make him short, so I'll give his pinky out.
That's fine. Pinky out. you got to make him. If that was a teacup, it would totally be permissible.
He's got stress lines.
Stress lines.
Because that makes them more relatable to me.
I saw the prompt.
Character.
I saw the prompt for this particular character come up, and immediately when it said that they were angry or annoyed or whatever, I don't have the prompt in front. Yeah, short-tempered. I knew that was gonna be within your wheel book. I was like, you know what?
Oh yeah.
So what if they're a duck or a bird character?
Oh, yeah.
This will work. This will work. It'll be a little bit out of your comfort zone, but it'll work. You have 1 minute remaining.
This is fun though.
As it should be. You don't get to have little art games very often.
Yeah, and like this amount of thinking outside the box and interactivity is working on unclogging some of my inspiration.
Absolutely. 30 seconds left. To be fair, with Spirey having to move abruptly, I'm going to give her an extra minute to wrap up hers.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put my I'm gonna take a drink and just let me know when she's done.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And Kat, go ahead and put yours down. Spy, you've got 1 more minute. So how about that name? Oh, I think she went to go get a drink. I'm speaking to nobody. Go figure.
I named him Trevor.
Trevor. Trevor the duck. Or Mallard. Maybe Mallard. Mallard seems to fit the profile better. Mallard sounds a little bit more masculine, right? $30 seconds. Oh, the bird.
I have an angry bird too.
Yay!
Right here.
I'm telling you, honey, that bird wants your egg. $15 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and complete. All right, so we have now completed the challenge. Let's have a look at each person's dealio. So first off, we have our guest, Katimus. Let's get a close look at what you've done here. So we have Trevor the Mallard, with his Digitus spellcasting and slight annoyance. What else can you point out about your Trevor here?
All right, so he has his pinky out, and the book has a cute skull on it, and he's got glasses.
So how did you, when you were coming up with this sort of concept outside of the little things that we gave you as descriptors to create your subject, what kind of stuff was going through your head?
I have just been thinking about Kylo Ren and Hubert a lot.
Now, are we talking the Kylo Ren from like the Saturday Night Live sketches, or are we talking from the actual Star Wars movies?
You mean there's a difference? No, I don't approve of Kylo Ren's actions or anything like that.
Right.
But I used to be very emotionally volatile, and I understand where Kylo Ren is coming from up to a certain point. I don't approve of murder.
Goodness, you're having way too much fun over there. We have a quota on how much fun you can have, you know.
Sorry.
It's okay.
We both have coughs.
Now, part of getting over the pneumonia, our daughter had quite the cough yesterday too, so we totally understand. Well, let's go have a look at Spirey and see what she has created here. Spirey, what do we have over here?
This is Beakley the Bleak.
Beakley the Bleak. Do you want to share that with Kat so she can see it through the Discord? Give her 1 second and you can see what her transpiration was. Yep, there you go, right there. And here, for you, is... Boop. It's going to show up on...
Beakley.
Yep, there you go. Beakley
Oh, I
the
love
Bleak.
him.
So you went with this slender, angsty duck, and she created a dwarven-esque
Cockatiel eagle hybrid.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like there's definitely some Revy in there for sure.
Yeah. Put a little wispy on
And
the top of his head.
I guess she got inspired by your. I'm gonna make him short, and she just decided, you know what, that actually fits this one.
I know you said short temper. He's angry and he's short.
So he's got short man syndrome. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Dogberry the Bard says that's a very cute skull for what you've done, and yeah. And then Spy has what's the book that that character is using? I can't speak today. What's the book that they're using?
That's a good question.
What are they channeling? Her Mallard is utilizing the power of Digitus. How about yours? You've got some sort of circle.
The power of dank smells.
Dank smells. Dank smells.
Awesome.
Indeed. Okay, go ahead and close the screen share down so I can put it back on the thing. Well, that was the first 10 minutes. Now things get interesting because we get to reduce it to 1 minute, and you have to try and get as much of the detail that you have in less of the lines. So we're going to do that in 1 minute, and that 1 minute will go by pretty quick. In this 1 minute, we are not going to do any sort of shading. We're not going to do any structure lines. You're just going to blat it out, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to start that in 3. Oh, you know, it would help if I transitioned here. There we go. We're going to do that here in 3, 2. Wait, are you ready, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to make sure. I saw you were still moving stuff around. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Begin. And I'll tell you every 10 seconds so that you can get weirded out. You have 50 seconds remaining. Not only that, but this is your casual reminder that you have 40 seconds remaining. Not to put you under any other pressures or anything, but you do have 30 seconds remaining. And I do hate to interrupt your train of thought, but you do have 20 seconds remaining. As if that wasn't bad enough, you have 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop!
I probably popped on that stop one because I didn't realize I was using too much and I was too close to the microphone. Apologies for those who with the sensitive hearing. What do we have here? Let's have a look. Okay, first we're going to go to our guest, Katimus. Let's see here. Katimus, what did you do?
He's giving the finger now.
He's giving the finger and it looks like he's kind of melted a bit. Is he becoming a Peking duck now, or?
No, it's just me scribbling.
My sound went out.
Is this the
I can't hear anything. Hold on.
Is this the first part of the turducken where the duck gets lightly cooked before going inside of the turkey?
No.
Spy has lost her sound really quick, but she's seeing about doing some troubleshooting. While she's doing some troubleshooting, let's have a look at what happened to hers. Let's go have a look. Oh boy. Looks like Thanos had a little bit of a hand in this. He's missing his butt, honey. What happened? Well, I see. The cool thing is that, like, the spell is still there, which is pretty cool. But, like, he went on a diet, and, he definitely doesn't have as large of a drumstick as he does before. He still retained the shortness, that's for sure. Let's... Whew. Do you want to show Cat? Mm-hmm. Okay. Show Cat. One more time. I promise I won't sing the song.
Oh my
Bam.
god, that's great.
So yeah, this is what it is to reduce the elements. Let's see here. Stitched Moon says he's vibrating with angry, and I believe that's the Katimus' picture. And Radio Tanuki says, butt honey?
Is it strange that your character is making me want to revisit Darkwing Duck?
Oh, that's a good call.
No, because I love Darkwing Duck.
Yes, that was a good cartoon. And they actually did a faithful version of Donald in there too, without having to completely reboot the entire narrative behind it. So,
because I'm garbage and I...
No, you're not garbage.
Because I'm garbage and I want to do this. Somebody drew Emmett Selk as a Disney Duck character.
Oh, jeez.
Now I have precedent to draw Varys in the style of Launchpad.
Dogberry the Bard says, when there's trouble, you call DW. Yes, you do. That's right. You also call Ghostbusters when you have a little... Anyway. Let's see. Radio Tanuki says... Oh, wait. You already said... Yeah, both of them said when there's trouble, you call DW. And then Queenie Bee says, loving all of this. Radio Tanuki also says, Negaduck. Well, I guess we know what has to happen there. There's your anti-hero right there. Rainiel actually quoted Negaduck, suck gas, evil doers. Oh, wait, that wasn't Negaduck. That was Darkwing Duck himself saying that. Yeah. Took me a minute. Well, that was the 1 minute side. Are you ready for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Nope. Yep. Nope.
Yes.
I'm not going to count each second as it goes down. I'm just going to let the timer do its thing. So if you want to get your next layer ready, let's see how much Thanos can take part in this rendition of the picture. Let's see what happens, okay?
All right.
I'm going to start at 15 seconds, and once I reach 10, that's when you're going to begin, okay? I will count from 15 to 10, and once I hit 10, I'm going to stop counting until the timer goes off. Okay. Ready, honey? Mm-hmm. Ready, Katimus? Mm-hmm. Okay. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, begin!
That's what I was waiting for.
Stop it! This is amazing. Well, let's have a look at what happened on the challenger side. Our guest, Kat. Thanos definitely played a part in this endeavor, didn't he?
Still see his expression. That's good.
Yes. Thanos could not take away his short-temperedness.
Yes.
Or his beak.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a flick of spells.
Yeah.
Woo!
I was
Rainiel
trying
says,
to get the hand in there.
Rainiel says, that is modern art. Radio Tanuki says, oh, snap! And yeah, that was definitely the result of a snap from Thanos. Thanos totally got a hold of him. Well, let's see what Thanos did over to Spirey. Let's take a look over here. Ouch.
Instead of brows, he's got like a long eyelash coming off his eye there.
Beautiful.
He's got an eyelash. He's got the top of his dome. No finer hair points than that. Most of his beak. It's very inference, and then his entire right side, and then that's it.
My husband is watching, and I get to see the screen.
Oh, no, you're seeing it now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So, Thanos definitely played a part in this eradication of the timeline, and it turned out pretty awesome. So what we like to do at this point, just to give everybody an idea of how the art transitioned, Spirey's already got hers set up, but if you want to take your 3 different layers and resize them side by side so that everybody can see what happened.
Let's see.
You might want to rotate and shrink or something. That could be an idea. I don't know. I don't want to tell you what to do, but you can figure out how best to portray those 3 layers. I'm sure you're art enough. I know you can do it. Gotta say, that was a really good challenge considering the way it threw things through a loop. While you're doing that, we do have one more game that we're going to play. And it's going to be to both of you to decide what the subject is. Now, I went through this morning when I actually had a little bit of downtime before I got pestered at work over stupid things. And I wanted to try and find photogenic heroes. And I was like, you know what? If we're going to do this, then we need to make sure that we can portray at least 3 different avenues that I'm pretty sure affects how we designed our stuff and to your likings too. So what I did was I picked 2 people from anime, 2 people from Star Wars, and 2 people from a fiction that's based in the real world. Hey, puppy's getting excited. Don't mind him. So what we have is we're going to do a reference drawing. Now, I haven't pulled out the pictures of the reference, so I'm going to let you do a reference of however you want. Just make sure you include the reference in your picture.
Okay.
But the subjects for the heroes, in the anime category, we have Ixander, or Alexander the Great, aka Ryder, from Fate Zero. For Star Wars, we have Wedge Antilles. And for the fictional realism, we have Crocodile Dundee. So let's go ahead and vote on those first 3 here. Which of those 3 heroes would you like to portray in this reference picture? I will restate the subjects. We have Ixander, who's known as Alexander the Great, or Ryder in the anime, from Fate Zero. We've got Wedge Antilles from the Star Wars category. And we have the realistic category being Crocodile Dundee.
Okay, I have to admit something here. I have not seen Fate, so...
I've only recently seen Fate, and I say recently as in within the last 6 months, and I still haven't finished it due to my own distractions.
Okay.
But I remember seeing Ryder and was being like, man, that dude is definitely macho looking, and he fits the whole...
redhead, right?
The bedhead? No.
Redhead. Not bedhead. Redhead.
Yes, he's the redhead.
Okay.
He's got the big red coat. He rides a big chariot, and he's very bravadoed. He walks around with a confidence to whom he's serving, and it's funny to see this. I'm not going to give spoilers away, but this teenager who's controlling him having to deal with a very alpha male-esque bravado. It's pretty interesting to see that dynamic going on. Wedge Antilles is the pilot who helped Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars run. And we also have Crocodile Dundee, who is the male hero character from the movie. Oh, goodness. Our doggy's doing his zoomies right now because he's... Stop it. Hey. Hey!
I don't know. I think Crocodile Dundee would be fun to draw.
Okay. Spirey?
think I'll do Wedge.
So, the rule is that you
Fun
both are going to pick one character. So you have one vote for Wedge and one vote for Crocodile Dundee, you said? That said, this means that we have to either leave it to an audience vote, or I can flip a coin.
Okay.
So I think what we'll do
It'll be
is...
fun to get the audience vote.
Indeed. I think what we'll do is we'll get the audience. So audience members, we're going to do a vote between Crocodile Dundee or Wedge Antilles from Star Wars. If you can say A for Crocodile Dundee or B for Wedge Antilles, we will begin the vote. I will type that inside of the chat here.
Wedge is giving me those feels. We used to have a couple of ratties that were named after Biggs and Wedge for both Star Wars and Final Fantasy.
Yep, and in Final Fantasy IX is when Biggs and Wedge made their... I think that was their first time making it instead of the Final Fantasy series?
Nope.
So.
FF6.
FF6.
Oh, yes,
That's
right.
right. That's right. I just remember FF9 because they were a lot more prolific.
Ah.
They had characters that you actually interacted with for it. So let's see. We got a few votes. Let's see here. Radio Tanuki says mix them together for a bonus challenge. Dogberry says make them both kissing.
Yes.
As much fun as that would be, that would also be much more time consuming. And considering they only have 15 minutes for each, I think that might be a little bit pressing. Plus, also, we do try to keep things PG-13 and not for gratification. So
Maybe that could be a side project.
yeah, side project. We'll put that on the... Maybe if you want to get the art commissions going, we do have that over in our Discord. Anyway. So, actually, what's really funny is
Anybody
that...
broken the tie?
Well, no, we actually do have a tie. So this means that
Okay.
I have to see about using the
Flip
coin.
a coin.
I'm gonna flip a coin. So the
Don't
coin...
hit my head this time.
Aw.
I won't hit your head. I'm going to use a dice rolling app. It actually has a coin modifier inside of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the head side of the coin, which is labeled number 1, is going to be Wedge Antilles. The coin labeled side 2, which is tails, is going to be Crocodile Dundee. And I'm showing the phone over to my wife so that she can verify that I'm pressing it. And we're going to flip. I'm going to give it 3 taps and then...
One is heads? Just to
1 is
clarify?
heads,
Okay.
2 is tails.
All right.
Heads is Wedge, 2 is tails for Crocodile Dundee. I'm going to tap the thing. Best 2 out of 3. First,
First is heads.
heads. Second,
Heads.
heads. Well, then that's 2 out of 3. So
right.
we are doing
All right.
Wedge Antilles.
Cool.
And then for the second reference, which is going to be a villain, and that will be its own separate 15 minutes, we have in the anime category Knives from Trigun.
Yay.
From Star Wars, we have Admiral Thrawn.
What? Yeah.
And for the third, the realistic but fictional, we have Alexander Godunov from Die Hard.
Okay, so you said Thrawn. I'm a Thrawn.
I figured you would probably lean that way.
You know, remember at the beginning of the thing where I was describing my lean-to sensory deprivation chamber? The book
Yes.
I read in that chamber was the Thrawn books.
So just to reiterate, for the anime category, we have Knives from Trigun. For the Star Wars category, we have Admiral Thrawn. And for Die Hard, which is based in fictional but realistic, we have Alexander Godunov. He is the long-haired, blonde Swedish fellow, German fellow.
Is he the
Who
one
had
that's
the-
not Alan Rickman?
Yeah, he's not Alec Rickman. He's the
Okay.
he's the guy who, spoilers, near the end of the movie, you think he died because he got choked to death, but no, he didn't. And it caused the cop to put his faith back into his gun.
I like him. Oops.
You like Alexander? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Spirey is voting for Alexander. And I think it's safe to assume that Katimus is voting for Admiral
Yes.
Thrawn.
Yes.
Okay, audience, we're relying on you. There are 11 viewers at least in the audience right now. If you would please type A for Thrawn or type B for Alexander from Die Hard. Go ahead and put your votes over there in the chat, and we will see what the tally is. I do think we have a strong leaning so far.
Now that I've Googled him, I do see the appeal.
I tried to. I worked with what your
Yes.
ideals
Yes.
were. So I tried to make it a very challenging discussion of what to pick. You can change your vote if you want to.
No, it's more interesting if people vote.
Gotcha.
Either way, either way, I think I win in this.
So far, we'll give it a couple more seconds, and then we'll close it up, and we'll decide the winner.
He's a cool guy, I've got to admit.
Yeah.
Well, considering he's been the only, aside from the Mandalorians, he has been the only other sincere threat to the Jedi, being with the Imperials, because he used his own social background to get his seat within the fleet. Whereas Darth Vader, he used his force powers to become what he is. This person actually utilized his resources, his cunning, his deviousness. He was a military genius, and he was a legitimate threat. Well, after my nerd out session, and after counting the letters, because that's what we do with letters now, we count them. We definitely have a winner. It is going to be Thrawn. Thrawn is our winner for the enemies. So what I'm
Sorry,
gonna
Spurry.
No, it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. Okay.
Well, I got Wedge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirey got Wedge, and you got
We
Thrawn. So you both
two
got Star Wars.
characters.
Yay.
Oddly
Exactly.
enough.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the count on 15. There's going to be no extra rules with this. The only thing I'm going to say for the hero is I'm going to use... let's see. Did I give you back your phone? Or maybe I didn't. Oh, here it is. Okay. That's right. Say it said it over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you an emotion, and we're going to give you an accessory for both characters to utilize. And that should help with your inspiration of drawing the character. Come on. So, for the hero, you're going to draw Wedge Antilles being nauseous, and he's also wearing large boots.
Poor Wedge.
So, nauseous and boots. And for Admiral Thrawn... No, that's not going to work. Let's try again. Go, randomizer. Oh. Here's your curveball. You're going to draw Admiral Thrawn eating ramen while wearing animal pelt armor.
Okay.
I will repeat that. You'll be drawing Admiral Thrawn eating ramen wearing animal pelt armor.
Alrighty. And what's the one for Wedge again?
The one for Wedge is
Nauseous?
yeah, nauseous, and in an outfit wearing boots. And it's gonna be 15 minutes each, so it's gonna be a whole half hour for you guys to do stuff.
Doesn't he technically already wear boots?
Right, but you
He
need to make the
does.
boots more prolific, something to emphasize that he's wearing boots. You want the eyes not only to draw to his nauseousness, but to his boots. So maybe they're
Nauseous
Adidas
isn't
boots.
a fun
No ideas.
expression.
I'm not saying ideas. I'm just giving relatable thoughts that can do it. You know, Adidas is very prolific. You can also make them cowboy boots or utilize maybe those little roller wheels on the bottom of the boots that the kids like rolling on. You know,
Heelys.
yeah, Heelys. There you go. So that's a thought. So let's flip the coin to see which of the characters you're going to draw first, because we can't just have you go hero and then bad guy. Maybe it might be bad guy and hero. So I'm going to flip another coin, and it's going to be 1 is going to be hero side to begin with, and 2 is going to be bad guy side to begin with. So I'm going to flip the coin 3 times again. First time.
Heads.
Okay. Second time.
Heads again.
Jesus, this is a loaded coin, I swear. I tapped the screen. Okay, so we're going to do heroes first. So Wedge Antilles, Nauseous, in boots first.
Okay.
Your 15 minutes begins now. And while that is happening, our dog, during his zoomies, has expressed that he needed to use the restroom. So we're going to be letting the music play in the background for a little bit while I take care of that. Otherwise, he's going to be a big distraction for the rest of the night. And then I'll get back to the chatting. But if you two want to fill in the gap of silence while you're drawing through your intense staring of making this art, you're welcome to do so. And I will be right back. Audience, by all means, fill in the gap too. If you want to participate in this challenge, go for it. All right. Doggy time. Be right back.
I actually am pretty crushy on Wedge. It's the eyebrows, I think.
I actually saw an older picture of him, and he's all grayed out on the top of his head, but his eyebrows are still really dark.
Yeah. It's adorable.
Womp womp. Of course he's being a jerk. Why wouldn't he be a jerk? Alright. You know, I just realized this, and I wasn't even thinking about it before, but I realized that I picked 2 Alexanders and 2 Star Wars characters.
You did.
Oh well. I should probably move my mouse out of the way, out of your screen there. That would be helpful. Let's see what we got. What do we got going on here?
I'm not so great with the nauseous as an expression, so I hope it's acceptable.
I think just you participating in it and attempting is more than enough.
Big old cowboy boot.
Indeed, indeed. Oh yes, I remember. So to highlight something that we came across earlier in the episode, and for those who may have jumped in a little bit later, we're going to be doing another episode sometime this weekend. We're determining whether it's going to be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I think it's leaning towards Sunday. But we're going to be featuring all of our previous artists and Katimus here in a 5-artist and 1 not so much an artist, but playing one on TV, i.e. me, big old tournament. Where it's going to be 3 hours, well, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it takes to get through 4 main events. And each event is going to be a qualifier to who goes to the next event. It will be Battle Royale style. First event will take out 2 people, second event will take out 2 people, and the third event will go down to... I'm sorry. First event will take out 2 people. Second event will take out 1 person. Third event will take out 1 person, leaving it to 2 artists. And then the 2 artists will go head-to-head on the final project. And we'll see exactly who will be crowned the artist of, I don't know, the series thus far. And it'll be a fun competition. Yeah, the Iron Artist. I don't know. We'll come up with a better name for it. We got a few days to figure it out. But yeah, we'll start off with a TKO because that's random enough to determine who gets eliminated for the first 2. And then we'll actually go into the fun stuff where we start actually getting more nitty-gritty into this kind of style stuff. If you want to make sure that you are a part of that action, whether it be on Friday or Sunday, join our Discord below. In about a week, we should have the Dragon Meld video edited and put up on YouTube. YouTube? Yep, that's what I said.
YouTube?
Yep. And then Katimus's will come up in a few days after Dragon Melds. So you can look forward to that on YouTube. You should be able to search us and find us as Tomorrow's Today Show. That's where you can find us on YouTube after everything that's edited. Katimus will let you see this episode after it airs. And then if you have anything that you want to add to the episode that maybe we didn't highlight as well, or if you wanted to provide more context, you can let us know where it is via timestamp, and then we can make sure that we add it as a little speech bubble. Don't forget also to join our Discord. The link down below is where you can find us for our Tomorrow's Today show and everything else for the Tales of Tomorrow moniker. We would love to have you aboard, and we would love to express our interest in art with you, among the many other things that we do, like video games and everything else. So stop by there, hang out, do whatever you would like. And if you want to partake in these different challenges yourself, you may do so via the Discord below. Just drop it off with a PNG or a JPEG and let us see what you create. We would love to have an episode just dedicated to the fan art that you guys provide. That's our dream. We want to be able to do that and cherish the art that you portray. Whether it was over a stupid joke that we made or a particularly interesting subject in one of the art challenges, we want to see what you can do. So participate. And if you are an artist and you want to be on this show, first of all, join our Discord. That way you can message us directly and let us know that you're interested. Wolfsinger is our talent acquisition. He would love to sniff out what exactly you do. And we're not strict on just artists of the digital media kind. We're also looking for traditional artists. We're looking for musical artists, DJ artists, anything of that moniker. If you consider yourself an artist, we want to know about what you do, and we want to celebrate. Cosplay too, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Instagram art, that works too. You can even make it as a graphic design. I can consider myself an artist because I like to take elements that are already determined from original content and chop it together to create something new. I like to call it the chop cropping. I think one of my most successful things was a stupid poster for back in the time when I was in ITT Tech. I would make the calendars based off of what was going on and other subjects. And it was May coming up. I think it was May 2016. And Star Wars was going to be coming up. It was, Cinco de Mayo and all that other stuff. So I created a poster where I made lightsabers from scratch other than the handles and this other stuff. And it turned out really, really good. Or at least I'd like to think so. And I'll see if I can get a picture of that later on for you guys to see. I think I can even post it inside of the Discord so easy. We'll put it up in post so that you can see what I did. Yep, there it is on the screen right now. That's what I'm doing. So Future Spirey, this is where the picture of the Star Wars thing is, and yeah, look how awesome I did. I got paid for it too. Did I ever tell you that? Some of the people who liked that poster so much that they decided that they wanted to pay me for as a commission to have that poster. All I had to do was just take the text off.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That was my first official commission piece. Unintentional, but it turned into that.
Commissions are so life-affirming, though.
Oh, absolutely. Shoot. I don't have it on my phone. Maybe I have it in my Dropbox. I probably do. My personal
One of the
Dropbox.
favorite commissions I've ever done is an old lady who worked with me at Wawa wanted a Thanksgiving sign, and she couldn't find one at Michael's or anything, so I just took this piece of plywood and painted a beautiful turkey on it, and she loved it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
A colorful turkey. Wedge looks more embarrassed than sick, but he looks like Wedge.
Oh boy. Speaking of Wedge, I should probably tell you what kind of time you have left, and you're just under the 5-minute mark now.
Oh,
That's not good.
so
Yeah,
we
you
got
have
10
to-
minutes more? Or 5 minutes left?
You have 5 minutes left. Well, 4 minutes left now.
Okay.
Let's see, what do we have? I'm digging through all my files right now. I'm trying to find some of the pictures that I did. Let's see, this one should be all of... Nope. Was it March? No, it had to have been May. It had to have been May. It's gonna be May. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Too early.
Womp womp. That's
I like that meme the year it came out.
Oh yeah. Oop, careful.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm coughing up the bad.
No.
Because the bad needs to get out of my lungs.
True enough. Digging through my past. This is going to be a halfway post, but you now have 2 minutes, 30 seconds left.
You have a little bit of extra time.
What's that now?
You have a little bit of extra time.
A little bit. You're supposed to be doing it in 15 minutes. I suppose I can be a little lenient.
You got screwed on the first round, so I think it's fair.
I do think it's fair, yes. I'm sorry that I'm falling silent right now, but I'm digging through ye olde pictures of my Dropbox camera uploads, because I know I had it in my camera at one point, and I had saved it as the actual file in my camera in the camera uploads as the raw file, not just as a picture. Oh, hey, look, there's the pictures of when I was in Maryland when I first met you.
Oh, wow.
I happen to pass right through that. Isn't that awesome? Let's see here. Where's it at? Yep, and ye olde memes. Yep, Jesus. These are really old. There's all the traditional art. There's the watercolor of Rainbow Dash I did. Holy crap. There's the other May poster that I did, but that's not the current one. I will find it. I'm close. Hey, you know what? Guess what? Kat, you have 10 seconds left.
Okay.
Spy, I'll give you 2 more minutes. Kat, your time is now complete. Okay, and then I'm going to put this on 2 minutes and give Spirey that so she can finish up her line work. So we'll do that. Non-Furry says, coronavirus. Like, no.
No, I did not go to China, and I think the coronavirus jokes are kind of played out. Because I think statistically, the flu has killed more people than the coronavirus.
Definitely, and you know what? They should just go ahead and call it the Kung Flu.
Oh.
Oh no! I just realized that I didn't see the poster yet, and I know that I have passed up where it once was. That's not cool. That's a different picture. Getting closer, though. Yeah, see, it should be within this area of my Dropbox, but I'm not finding it, and that's frustrating. I was so proud of that picture. Coincidentally, it was when Rage comics were still all the...
all the rage?
I wasn't going to make that joke, but you did it for me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Maybe it was a little bit further. Oh, there it is. I found it. And I'm going to download it. Yeah. I should download it. I shouldn't copy it from the Dropbox itself. Last thing I need... So, fun thing. Spammers will actually take copied links of... your Dropboxes and stuff like that, and then they'll post documents in your Dropbox talking about how they want to have fun times with you and all this other wonderful junk, and oh my goodness.
Oh, it's almost 9 o'clock. My cat Knives is adorable, and she is not named for any anime character, but she's adorable, and she usually wants attention at around this time of night, so if you see her...
If we hear little cat shuffling noises, then we'll understand what it is. Okay. The time is done. I'm actually going to send the Discord picture now. In the meantime, let's have a look at everybody's art. So first, let's go over to Katimus and see what she's done. The subject is Wedge Antilles, who is nauseous, wearing boots.
You colored it. Awesome.
And she colored it, yes. He definitely looks... I would say... I don't know about... Yeah, you definitely said that you weren't sure if you could portray the nauseous part there. But he looks skeptical. I'm not so sure about this business here. So, yeah. I mean, it turned out really well, though.
Isn't really an emotion. It's... I'm about to throw up.
It is more of a physical kind of thing happening, that's for sure. Well, let's have a look. My display decided to shut down for a second there. That wasn't cool. Let's go have a look at Spy and see what she's got. Okay, Mouse, you can go move up now. Thank you. And you know what? I do think this pretty much nails the actual content. That's pretty cool. We have Wedge Antilles, who is with his boots. They're prolific, and he's nauseous from the boots. That's pretty awesome right there. Gotta say. Okay, so the picture should be loading up now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, did you get a look?
Yeah.
Yeah, that turned out pretty good. That turned out really, really good. All right, let's go put it back onto the screen things. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I think my Discord should have my photo here. Let me double check it first before I say anything. Yes, it did. It posted twice. That's awesome. So, while we're on my display, let's go back over here real quick, and we're going to drop from your call for a minute. Well, not drop from the call, but drop from the full thing, and we'll just go to the full picture here. Open the original, and yep. Bam. From mine. This is the poster I did for May the 4th Be With You. That's it. The only original stuff that I created was actual lightsaber blades, the glowy stuff around it, and everything else, aside from the text. Everything else was made from other artists and stuff. So we got like this nice picture of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and there's Han Solo that's in there too, but you can't see it. All in a rock band. You've got this banner right here that portrays episodes 1 through episode 6. And then you've got Cinco de Mayo, so you got like a Mexican cartel mariachi band with Luke Skywalker with a big old stash, and she's got her little fiddle over there. Darth Vader's got his, Day of the Dead painted helmet, and then just an awesome spaceship thing, because I love spaceships. I can't help it. Spaceships are like one of my favorite things. So this is the picture I'm proud of. That's what I did. I did this. Okay.
It looks great.
It does, and I do appreciate that. That's the best thing I've ever done. And I am now a failure at everything else. So anyways, that said, now we're going to move on to the last part of the competition, and that is the villain. And the villain that we agreed upon this time was going to be Admiral Thrawn eating ramen while wearing animal pelt armor. This should be interesting, that's for sure. So, once everybody is all primed and ready to go, we will start this 15-minute challenge.
Okay.
And then we'll call it a night.
All right.
And before we call it a night, we'll make sure this time we'll plug your stuff so that everyone will know where to find your stuff in the future.
All right.
Okay. You got your references all set up?
Okay.
Okay, doke. We're going to begin the challenge in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 15 minutes is a go.
All right.
Admiral Thrawn eating ramen with animal pelt armor. Let's see, the non-furry says, does Ewok pelts count as an animal pelt? I do believe they do. So you could definitely do that if you wanted to.
That's dark, but also valid.
It's also dark. Wookiee is also an animal pelt.
Oh, I'm not sure if I want to go that dark. I love Chewie.
The bird is trying to pose on my wife's head again. Come here. No, get off. Get off. Thank you. He'll just, jump on her head if he's not being given enough attention. So I try to gracefully get him off of her head. He hates me. He just does. I don't know why, but he does. Tell you what, I kind of wish... I understand the logistics behind it, but I kind of wish that they would have kept the lore behind Thrawn. Because I think it's cool. I'm not going to say spoilers, but I'll say that in the most recent iterations of Star Wars, they've started confirming that the Old Republic stories are canon to the Star Wars
Yeah, well, the
now.
thing with
I won't say where, how exactly, but if you've seen the movie and you understand the reference, you'll know that that's where that's been confirmed. But I kind of wish that they would have kept some of the lore behind Thrawn.
Well, Thrawn is back. He's in Star Wars Rebels. And I haven't seen the episodes that he's on, but he's like I've had a huge freak out because I brought him back.
Yeah, I hope they like actually get him back. I would be very disappointed if they decided.
In the movie back.
Yeah,
that would be nice. I could watch an entire movie about Thrawn because before Magus even Chrono Trigger, there was Thrawn. So.
Well, I have a pesky dog who's trying to beg to go outside again. We'll see if we get better luck this time with what he needs to do. So I will be right back. We'll just enjoy the music again and observe the art that's being portrayed. Let's see what's going on. I will be right back.
I have not hit undo tonight until just now. I have a couple of characters sort of based on Thrawn, so bringing up Thrawn at all is very on point for an episode with me on it.
Back. At least I am. What have I missed in the meantime? Man. So we've got a lot of ley lines down, some definite work put down from Kat. Spy is getting the sketch work done. She's got a lot of rough lines down. Time-wise, we're right near the 10-minute mark, so we're doing okay. Hello, Bird.
It's kind of hard to hear you. It's like you're in the other room.
Oh, that's right. I had turned my volume down during the thing. I should probably put the bird away. He's being a little bit of a nuisance. Come on, buddy.
Bird done.
Come on, you. Come on. Oh, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Thank you. Come on. Come on. All right, check. You are being a real jerk right now. Come on. I swear I'm gonna clip your wings. Thank you. Okay. Bird distraction complete. Oy. Don't know if you heard the beating of the wings in, but he was actually flying around the living room here. Be like, "No, I do not want to go."
I did not hear that.
Well, that's a good assurance. Less to edit and post as well. Dum-dum-dum-dum. Let's see. We're at about 8 minutes now, so you guys are doing actually really good on time.
That feel when you turn off your sketch layer.
Yeah. I know I've said this before, but I'll reiterate it. The biggest challenge for me when it comes to creating original works, like what you and Spirey do, is the immediate white of the background for whatever size that I make. And it's so intimidating to me because it's not that I don't go in with an idea of what I want to draw, but as soon as I see that white staring at me, the thought of whatever I was originally wanting to portray just goes away, and it's like, okay, this is all pristine and clean and everything. Why do I want to ruin it with what I'm about to screw up?
Sometimes, if I get like that, I change the color to like brown or something. That way it's pre-ruined, and it doesn't matter if I start and screw up.
True enough. Hey, the Ember Red says, "Hi, Kat. I got a Twitch account just to say that."
Oh my god! Hello!
Oh, Ember Reed. My apologies. I said that right.
Oh, it's Jeremy. Okay, yeah. Hi, Jeremy.
Welcome to Twitch. If you haven't been here before, glad to see you come over to this show.
Yeah, I think you and Aaron might be really cool at this. Jeremy and Aaron are two of my best friends, and I'm hanging out with them at Katsucon shortly.
Oh, very
next
nice.
Week.
Is that like a large con that's there, or is that just more like a local con?
Huge now. It used to be kind of local and very not crowded, and now it's
then
this
it got
huge,
popular.
Yeah, it's this huge ordeal now.
Gotcha.
But we're gonna have a whole lot of fun. We're gonna I'm going with a group that I am part of a podcast on called Xeno Chat, and we're all Xeno nerds gonna be holed up in the same hotel. I think we're gonna do some anime streaming of the Xenosaga anime. No, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing my friends.
Ember Reed says we are working very hard to get the house ready.
Oh yeah, they just bought a house and it looks all amazing. But it also looks like there's a lot of work that needs to go into it.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, we're at the 5-minute mark now. About 5 minutes left. And Pup is being annoying again. He has decided he wants to do the other part of going outside, so I will be right back again. I apologize.
Okay. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay. Last bit of distraction there. Apologies, but we are good to go now. Let's see here. Radio Tanuki says this character gives me all the Margulis vibes, but
Yes.
with a fur coat.
Yeah.
Ember Reed says, "Huh? Yeah, I see it. You're drawing a blue guy. Yes, that is Thrawn. That was decided upon as part of an earlier vote. Thrawn eating ramen with an animal pelt coat." Radio Tanuki says, Smurf Margulis.
Exactly. One of the characters from Xenosaga is very Thrawn-esque, and I got very attached to him. So, yeah. I guess I've been thinking about some derivative of Thrawn for most of my life.
Oh, I just got corrected. Margulis. With
Yes.
a Q in there. My apologies. I'll be truth be told, I've never played I've never played Chrono Trigger, I've never played Xenogears,
Or Xenosaga.
or Xenosaga, yeah. I haven't done that. And then I forget which one it was, but then they made one of the games where like you're basically interacting with your weapons on a humanoid level, and that just weirded me out. I think the name
Was that Xenoblade 2?
I think so, or the one after that, where I think the name is Pyra or something.
Yeah, that's Xenoblade 2.
There you go.
I guess the premise of like a living weapon is weird to sell to Americans, but it's not as creepy as it sounds. Like it was marketed kind of like.
I don't think the premise itself is weird. I think that the representation that they made of the weapon was weird. Like,
Oh, okay. It's a hot girl. Pyra
yeah,
is a pretty lady. But, like, I think the costumes in Xenoblade are kind of notorious right now. And, like, I don't hold with that, but despite that, it's a good game, and it's a good game series. And the dev team is a bunch of good people, and I've been following them for about 20 years, since Xenogears, and about let's just say 25 since Chrono Trigger. But yeah, long time. I don't know what else to do with this. But yeah, one of the characters in my webcomic is sort of like a barbarian tactician who's really smart and does a lot of war and got 2 places because he's a smart war guy. And he goes around in a fur coat and his pauldrons are deer skulls.
nice. Let's see here. Stitched Moon says, I like the shiny hair. Ember Reed says it's okay. Stitched Moon says, Cat does the absolute best shiny hair. And says that it's perfect. Queen Bee says yes. Radio Tanukio says Soul Eater did that too with the living weapon. And the costume design gives off a bad vibe, but the game is mostly pretty but wholesome. Like, I like the costume design for Xenogears. I have no qualms with the costume design. I think, in my own expressed opinion, where I got a little odd with the game is not the concept of a living weapon, but I think they over-sexualized it. They just made her super well endowed and everything. So, if she's a weapon, then why is she ready to, like, have birthing hips and all that stuff? It's just, I don't think it meshes well. But, you know, their game, their design absolutely warrants what they want to do.
It's anime. I chalked it up to it.
Yeah.
And I probably should be a little bit more, like, objectionable toward content that's objectionable.
Oh,
but I've always had a problem with that.
That is time.
Right.
All right, so let's close it up and let's go have a look at where everybody has lined up. Let's go have a look at Cat first. In the meantime, Ember Reed says, it's that a Wampa pelt. Well, let's go have a closer look. Maybe it's a Wampa pelt.
It could be.
And then Radio Tanuki, I guess, agrees what I said. Nah, I agree. It's a bit overkill. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm not the only person. With me being a dude, especially seeing that and being like, no, but those are good, you know. But no,
dude guilt.
Oh well. Tell you what, if that was a Thrawn of Monster Hunter, I could see that working in Iceborne for sure. And that's my game of choice right now, is going into Monster Hunter and doing all the farming. But yeah, there's that turned out really, really well. And you even stuck in some color right there. That's nice. Very, very nice. Well, let's go have a look at Spirey. I could definitely tell Spirey was getting challenged in that aspect, but I think it really turned out really well, considering like the setup that she had done. Can you zoom in a little bit? Oh no, you can't. Can you? Maybe you can. Yeah, there we go. And then you gave it the quirkiness, the best part. Like, Thrawn is like, what is this ramen? It disgusts me. I think it almost shows it almost has a shade of Star Trek in there, too. The way the Klingons wear some of their battle garments. The way that it's portrayed right there. I like it. I really do like it. Umber Reed says, "It are all carbs."
Are all carbs.
Indeed. It are all carbs. Radio Tanuki says, "Next time, Kieran armor." LOL. Yes.
What is that?
So in Monster Hunter, there's a particular armor set that's made from the mythical Kieran.
Oh.
And it's a... you would think that with it being a Kieran...
Why are you killing unicorns? No, I'm kidding.
No, well, you are. You quite literally are. This is, but you're not just killing unicorns. You're killing a lot of different things, but you're doing it because it's a threat to the world, not because you're.
These are killer Kirans and not just guys who are sitting around minding their own business.
Yes, they're causing destruction to the environment, causing further degradation and stuff. So that's why you're out hunting the monsters, not just for sport or for fun. But I do believe that makes for an episode. So that said, where can we find your stuff, Kat? Where would we be able to find your works?
Okay, so if you go on the Twitter machine and type in at Katimus and then the number 1, Katimus1, that is my art account. That art account also links to katimus.smugmug.com. I have most of my entire catalog of art that I've done since forever uploaded on SmugMug. It's not free. SmugMug is kind of a gallery software that's owned by Flickr, and they don't have upload or size limits like every other media. Alright, so I ran out of space on my regular website. And if you go around looking for website space, it caps media files at 10 gigs.
Oh, really?
SmugMug did not have that, and that's why I went with it. Because I have like 20 years worth of art, and it fits. So.
Perfect. So at Twitter and at SmugMug. Perfect.
And I have personal websites, but they are in shambles. I have a Patreon, but I don't post much on it. I'm Katimus on Patreon as well. But it's essentially a tip jar. I have problems monetizing my own stuff, so it's just like I am going to unprivatize all locked posts when I get the chance to, probably later this week. And from now on, everything's just going to be open. And if you want to give me money, there we go.
Very well. Yeah, you can check her out on Patreon as well. We'll have all of those links on our end as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening for all the art that you portrayed here. On behalf of Spirey and myself, thank you for participating. We look forward to seeing you again coming up either Friday or Sunday for the big battle royale behind 5 artists and 1 pseudo artist to see who survives the big old battle.
Awesome.
I've been the Dox Fox along with the Spy Fry, and we will be seeing you here soon. Again, thank you so much, Katimus, for being our fortunate guest this evening and having such fun with us.
Awesome. Yay.
Awesome. You can check us out in the future every Tuesday on this channel here, the Tomorrow's Today Show, for other heavy artillery segments. And we hope to see you guys in the future. Thank you for consuming our content. All right, it's time to sing stuff. Time to turn it off, 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 turn it off!